Alright, what's going on YouTube? It is the mouselady here, and today is going to be a special video. Well, not really special, but probably one of the only times that I do a first impressions video on a mouse. And the reason that I'm doing this one is because this is actually my first ever custom wireless mouse that was commissioned for me, and it was done by CryoMods, who's a very talented modder. And it is a wireless MM710. At the time of recording this video, he also offers an XM1 wireless and a Cone Pure Ultra wireless. This starts off at $150 if you don't have a G305 or an MM710 to send him. The XM1 is either $150 or $160, and the KPU is $180. I had a G305 and an MM710, so it was $80 US plus the amount I paid to ship him my mice. I've gotten so many questions about how much I paid, so if you want, further pricing details about a particular commission for him, just DM him. He does also require you to fill out a form if you want to be placed in a queue to get a mouse done by him. So depending on what mouse you choose, you'll be able to pick obviously the mouse that you want commissioned, your switches, your mouse feet, and your battery. So the switches I got in mine are the Japanese Omrons, the D2F01Fs, and I got them on my side buttons and my main clicks. I think you can even go as far as putting two different switches, so you could get Japanese Omrons and then Kale Reds for your side buttons, I think. Don't quote me on that. But I did get the Japanese Omrons on mouse 1 and 2 and the side buttons. Here's a very quick sound test for you guys. Mouse 1 and 2. Side buttons. Very crispy, very light. These are some of my favorite, Japanese Omrons are probably my favorite switch at the moment. But, so, moving on. So, the feet, at least for the MM710, you can choose core pad dots, which are what I opted for. You could choose Superlight core pads or ice feet, I think, and then you can choose Hottie S feet, and I think Viper Ultimate feet. He has a few different other options on there, but core pad dots, you don't really see these on mice too often, so I wanted to get them. And they're also really easy to DIY if you have a core pad sheet or just leftover the sensor insert that's in the middle of the sensor mouse feet. You can use those if you have the correct tool for it. Keep in mind though that the core pad dots are only 0.6 millimeters thick, and something like the V2 Superlight core pads are 0.85 millimeters thick, I believe. So, overall, I guess I'm going to talk about... Oh, wait, rewind. You can also choose the battery that you get, which is either small or large. The small, I believe, can hold the charge to up to a week, and the large is 2 to 3 weeks. For whatever reason, I chose the large battery. I should have chose the smaller one. But anyway, even with the larger battery, this still only weighs 61 grams, which is pretty impressive. I've also got a lot of questions on, his process. So the only thing that Cryo does to change, what makes it custom, so obviously he uses a G305 PCB, and then he 3D prints a base plate, and there's a micro USB port down here to charge the mouse, which he includes the cable right here. And he also includes a extension cable to put your dongle in, which I thought was really cool. So on-off switch, micro USB, and then there's inserts for screws down here in case you need to open up the mouse, and then a sensor insert, and then he fills in where the stock cable was on the MM710. So that's pretty much the process, at least for this mouse. I don't know if it's the same for the KPU and the XM1 wireless, but... So my overall experience working with Cryo and doing business with him was overall just amazing, to say the least. It took literally 6 days, and it would have been 5. But USPS obviously doesn't deliver mail on Sundays, so I didn't get the mouse until yesterday, which is a Monday. So I shipped mine out to him last Tuesday, got there the next day. He finished the mouse, I think, Friday, and then shipped it out Saturday, and then I would have got it, you know, next day, but again, mail's closed. So then I got it yesterday, and he gave me my MM710 PCB back because he knows that I'm you know, wanting to practice like modding and stuff like that and soldering in my own switches. I don't know if he gives that back to everybody, but I thought that was really cool. So yeah, so he gave that back to me. He gave me my G305 shell back just in case I ever wanted it. And then of course you get your charging cable and then the extender and then the dongle for the G305 like I mentioned earlier. But overall, working with Cryo, he was really responsive. Like, if I had any questions or concerns about anything, he would get back to me right away. And it was just, you know, a really, really pleasant experience. He even sent me, like, pictures of the overall process. Like, you know, when he was testing my mouse, he sent me a picture of it just to, you know, let me know what was going on. One thing I did forget to mention, though, he doesn't offer options, at least for the MM710, to change out the encoder. It is just the regular, like, G305 scroll wheel, which, you know, isn't a problem for me, but I don't know, maybe that would bother somebody else. If it does, you could just, you know, mod it out yourself if an encoder bothers you. But, yeah, so now, other than those things, like, besides just the major working with Cryo, pricing, and then the accessories that come with it, I do have some, I guess, some issues that happened and some things that I wanted to address. Real quick, though, let me show you guys the pre and post travel on my buttons. So mouse 1 and 2 are actually really good. Very minimal pre, literally almost no post. Side buttons, though, have a lot of post travel, especially the back side button. Like, the backside button almost recesses back into the shell completely. I don't push my side button that hard, I just tap it. So, I mean, that kind of shocked me, but if you've used an MM710 or an MM711 before, you know how bad the build quality on those are in terms of flexing and creaking. This has none. It actually is kind of mind-boggling how much better the mouse feels now. I can actuate the side buttons if I squeeze the mouse, but I'm not gonna do like an Andrew PP stress test and just bang on my mouse like that. But trust me when I say the build quality is really good on this compared to the regular MM710 and 711. Definitely curious to see how it's gonna hold up over time. Sway Louie said that this is probably, he also has one, he has a channel as well, I'll link it down below. He said in his review of this that this is like one of the best feeling mice that he's ever owned, and he's also a mouse enthusiast who has owned and tried tons of other mice. So now getting into, you know, some things that I noticed. One very small thing. I don't know if this is just on my copy, but the DPI button doesn't work. I don't know if it's meant to. After thinking about it though, I'm just gonna assume that the DPI button on the G305 PCB just doesn't line up with the button in the MM710 shell. So I just changed the DPI in G-Hub, so no big deal, but something I wanted to bring up. And if anybody else has one of these from Cryo, let me know, like particularly the MM710 wireless, let me know if your DPI button works. And then another thing that probably wasn't the fault of Cryo, but USPS alone, you guys probably can't see this, but my battery came unglued from the PCB. I'm assuming USPS just kind of threw my package around, like in typical USPS form. Here's a quick sound test of it rattling. It's actually not as bad as it was yesterday. Yesterday when I would just move the mouse side to side very lightly, I could hear it. Now it just kind of does it when I move it up and down. I'm just gonna hot glue it back down. Cryo said it was fine to do that. Luckily the mouse feet I have, I don't have to take them off with the dots. I can just unscrew it, quickly access it, and just glue it back down. Should be good to go. Cryo said I could also use Velcro if I wanted to, but figured hot glue would be, you know, easier. And then I guess the other major concern that may actually deter people from even buying one of these is the liftoff distance, at least on my copy, is kind of absurdly high. I've never seen anything like it. It's probably like 6 to 7 millimeters. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. Like, pretend my hand is a mouse pad, right? I could hold my mouse probably this high and track, and I could still move my cursor. So I'm going to talk to Joe's Reviews, who also just got his CryoMods MM710 wireless today, to see if his, like, if he has the same issue, or if it's just with my copy. But luckily, I'm not the type of, you know, like, when I aim, I don't constantly, like, readjust like this. I just keep moving my mouse until I run out of mouse pad space, and then I'll recenter. But if you're somebody who does this a lot, like, this will definitely be a very serious issue for you. And I'm gonna be asking Cryo about it again. I don't know if the mouse feet have anything to do with it, since they're 0.6 millimeters thick, but even then, that's really not that thin. But I don't know. I'll be, you know, doing an actual, like, impressions again in probably like 2 to 4 months, like, of long-term use. This is gonna be my new main. So the Superlight's gonna get pushed aside for a little bit, just so I can, like, really use this mouse. The MM710 has always been one of my favorite shapes, but the build quality on the Cooler Master was just so bad. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. That's really everything I wanted to say. So yeah, if there's anything that I missed or anything that you want me to say down in the comments, let me know. But with that being said, guys, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.